Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Our presentation on how to grow your life settlement business with LifeRoc, led by Norman Giroux at LifeRoc Capital, will begin momentarily. In under 30 minutes, we will cover everything you need to know about life settlements and how to get great offers on your cases. We're glad you're here. Let's get started.
This is Norman Giroux with LifeRoc Capital. I've been in the life settlement space for approximately 20 years in one capacity or another, so very familiar with the marketplace and the trends and growth we've seen in the market over the years, and it's certainly an exciting space and one that continues to grow. And largely what we're going to cover today is a rundown of what the space currently is, what makes LifeRoc Capital special, and why our model is so popular amongst agents. And then we'll get in a little more in terms of examples of cases that are working, some tips on how to generate cases and profile for cases, and we'll end it from there. But as you can see on the screen here, LifeRoc Capital, we're your life settlement provider. LifeRoc is a licensed life settlement provider designed to work directly with agents and clients alike to assist them in getting great life settlement offers. And we do that through several different ways, and many of which are through our concierge hands-on support. We understand many of you may not be life settlement experts, and we always say you don't have to be. LifeRoc is designed to be the life settlement expert and can lend its expertise and confidence to you and your clients for every case. And as you see on the screen here, to simplify what LifeRoc does, what we do, we work with the nation's top insurance agents, independent trust firms, financial advisors, attorneys, and CPAs to help them navigate the exciting world of life settlements. In short, we work with those that are interfacing with the clients, and clients in the life settlement space are typically 70 and older. So if you're a financial professional that has clients 70 and older with life insurance policies, LifeRoc is designed to work with you. And our approach, as I suggested, is a high-touch concierge approach with unparalleled support and expertise that was developed to deliver you and your clients consistently great offers. And our mission through this is to help you and your firms and to help advisors be the best-in-class financial consultants to their clients. We want you to be comfortable in providing the same expertise in life settlements as you do in your main line of business. And we do this through our vast experience. We have 24, that number is continuing to grow, experts on on LifeRoc's team currently, so that's 24 employees here with LifeRoc. Combined, we have over 200 plus years of life settlement experience. And in our careers, we have settled over 20 billion, so 20 billion with a B, of face amount in the life settlement space. And we like to say the LifeRoc advantage because we are uniquely and intentionally different than any other model in the marketplace. And one of our advantages is our team is made up of very experienced life settlement experts. These are professionals who have worked in the space for some time and help encompass our medical underwriting staff, our actuary staff through understanding life insurance products and the importance of case design, and how you build a file in order to ensure you get great offers. Not only is it important to build a file correctly and to understand the medical underwriting, understand the pricing that goes into illustrations and premium design, but you need to be able to take that to the appropriate funders. And LifeRoc represents the industry's leading large network of global funders. So when we're working on your file, we're going to take it out to our large network of funders and encourage them to give great offers. And this is what helps us get consistently high offers on cases. Once we get those offers, unlike many other sources you may be familiar with, is we do not work with middlemen. We don't work with that old life settlement broker model. We work directly with you, giving you direct access to us. And in doing so, we're able to pass on 100% of the commission to you. So in every case, you get 100% of the commission. There's no broker commission splits like you might have seen elsewhere, thus ensuring you're getting 100% commission on every case. Now I'm going to give you a quick idea of who I am, who LifeRoc is, and what makes our model so special, and why we continue to grow and become increasingly popular amongst agents. I'm going to take a second to go into the life settlement market for those who maybe are not as familiar with the life settlement space and give you a quick rundown of what the life settlement market is today. One of the reasons we continue to see more and more business life settlement space are the simple demographics. When you look at these statistics, you quickly realize that there's a significant opportunity in your book of business, significant opportunity in the population for advisors to have conversations with clients about life settlements. The first one goes to show the size of the growing market. There's over 71 million baby boomers in the United States. That's our clientele. We're looking for clients 65 and older. There's 71 million of them in the United States. Okay? Of those 71 million, 90% of them, or 90% of seniors, who end up letting their life insurance policies lapse, and when surveyed say they would have rather sold their policy. So if you're an advisor, they're just thinking about that. Your clients are canceling their policies, they're dropping them, surrendering them, etc. And the majority of them would have preferred a life settlement option if the client had provided, or if the advisor had provided that option. And to bring that into a numeric value in terms of how much opportunity there is for advisors in the life settlement space today, there's over 200 billion of death benefit lapsed every year. That's $200 billion of coverage that is just surrendered or lapsed every year. Assuming a 25% payout rate, that's over $50 billion that could have been paid out to the clients if they had done a life settlement. And in 2023, there was almost $5 billion of life settlements purchased in that year. So when you do the quick math, you realize we're only getting 2 to 3% of the potential. So as popular as life settlements are today, there's still 97 to 98% of the market that we collectively are not capitalizing on. So as you look for ways to grow your business, to find additional revenue sources, life settlements could be a very good opportunity for you and your clients. Now that you understand how exciting the space is and how much opportunity there likely is for you, your network, and your book of business, give you a quick rundown what a life settlement is. Quite simply, a life settlement is a transaction where a third party purchases a life insurance policy from an owner. In return, that owner receives cash today and no longer has to pay premiums going forward, while the owner takes over, or the buyer, takes over and becomes the owner of the policy, the beneficiary of the policy, the premium payer of the policy. In addition to the demographics that we reviewed earlier, one of the other reasons that life settlements are becoming so valuable to clients is many clients are living longer. As you live longer, it puts more stress on your retirement income. You don't have as much money to quite go as far as you thought it may once go. And at the same time, healthcare costs are rising, cost of living is increasing, thus compounding that strain on clients. So many clients are looking for ways to save money and reduce expenses. Well, the life settlement allows them to save money by eliminating their premiums. and save money by limiting the expense of their premiums. And of course, they receive cash that then they can use to help offset any living expenses. We see many reasons why clients sell policies. But I'm just going to give you a couple here, just to give you a sense to start connecting the dots. But first and foremost, the majority of our clients sell not because they need money, right? I know some sell because they need cash now, and that's definitely a plus or a part of this, excuse me. However, many sell because they just no longer need it, or they realize their finance can be better served without a life insurance policy. So as you're thinking about your clients that could qualify, don't think of those that are financially distressed. Many of your clients that can afford policies still want to sell them. Maybe they've been divorced. Potentially they've sold a business, or they've retired, right? Maybe they've had a change in their estate tax liability. Potentially the policy is underperforming. You know, with the stock market performing the way it is, maybe they have better investment opportunities. It could be a potential term policy that's now expiring, and the term conversion option is expiring, and they want to be able to receive money as opposed to just let the policy lapse. Within the settlement space, there's really three different avenues, or really three different avenues you have when you have a case. The first one I'm going to share here is that old life settlement broker model, right? You know, you may not be as familiar with it today, but 10 years ago, it was a little more common. And the life settlement broker, as the name suggests, is a broker you send the cases to. They're a middleman. They're not a licensed provider. They're not licensed to actually provide offers. They have to take their case to a licensed provider like a LifeRoc. The LifeRoc is the provider. They work on getting the offers, pass them to a broker. The broker passes them to you. And for that middleman service, they take anywhere between 30 to 50% of your commission. Okay? LifeRoc was designed to eliminate that inefficiency, to eliminate that expense, and give you the opportunity to work directly with us, thus increasing transparency, efficiency, and most importantly, reducing that expensive 30 to 50% commission split. The others we just term as other providers, right? These are the majority of the providers in the marketplace, and they often have limited number of funding sources, right? And often have a proprietary buy and hold fund, as opposed to an open architecture approach for their funding sources, right? And some of these have a little bit more of a transaction approach to the agent support models as opposed to our concierge support model. So with this scenario, if you have someone who's looking to purchase policies with their own proprietary fund, well, there may or may not be trying, being able to get you the best offer versus somebody that is taking your policies out to funders and using the funders' funds and encouraging the funders to get high offers. That may result in higher offers for you and your clients. And then you have LifeRoc, right? So LifeRoc, as you can see here, has a model where it's a direct life settlement provider model. In this scenario, we give you direct access to the industry's leading global network of funders. LifeRoc passes on 100% of the commission to you and your agents, while eliminating the third-party broker fees, commission splits, and case fees. Because of our large leading network of funders, LifeRoc offers outside-the-box programs for young and healthy clients. We can even do variable policies, VULs, as well as partial policy sales, also known as retained death benefit sales. LifeRoc is made up of an experienced team that understands medical underwriting, life insurance products, and the importance of case design. And we do this by trying to ensure privacy and security for you and your agents as well as your clients. And we take the full responsibility of file building for a case. And regardless of the disposition of that case, we assume the responsibility and the cost for that. Let me get to the next screen for you. Just give you a quick rundown of our current buy box, and we certainly offer more solutions than just this, but want to make you aware of some of our programs and parameters, including some of the policy types. Essentially, if the policy type was written, we can oftentimes find a solution. So the solutions can be universal life policies, index universal life policies, BUL, convertible term, non-convertible term, whole lives, etc. So that's what most people think of when they think of a life settlement as a client 70 and older with $100,000 of face amount or greater. And health-wise, we're generally looking for a change in health. The more the clients had to change in health since the policy was issued, the better. And thanks to our large leading network of funders, we do have some unique programs for younger and healthy clients. You see the first there, our Convert to Cash program. In that scenario, a client can be as young as 63, but in reality, we can oftentimes find solutions for clients as young as age 60. So long as the client has a convertible term policy with a minimum face amount of $2 million, we may be able to find a solution. A program for clients who are as young as 60, so long as they have a convertible term policy with a face amount of $2 million or greater, and the client's health is not a consideration, meaning the client can be in poor health or the client can be in great health. We have another opportunity for younger and healthy clients. This one's more for guaranteed universal life or universal life programs, particularly the type that have very little cash value and very low COIs or cost of insurance chassis. In this scenario, even if the client's in good health, we can oftentimes find a solution. So long as the client is, we say 73, but oftentimes we can go all the way down to 70, and they have a minimum face of 250,000 or greater. So those are the main categories to keep your eye out for when you start talking to clients and thinking about your network and book of business. What you see here is a quick sample of our 24-hour policy evaluations. This is something we can provide you and your clients. Gives you a quick rundown of our evaluations on the appraisal side that we do internally. A couple quick case examples here. So now that you got a sense of what the life settlement space is and how LifeRoc can work to assist you in getting great offers, let me give you a couple examples of real life cases and how it works for the client and the advisor as well. So this one we have a 71-year-old, right? So 71-year-old male, it's not in terrible health, some heart disease and sleep apnea and diabetes, not too uncommon. And he had a $7 million convertible term policy. The nice thing about this is the advisor was able to get two commissions. They were able to get the conversion commission, of this case, $346,000, plus a life settlement commission of $135,000, all while giving the client $315,000 for a term policy that the client otherwise would have lapsed. Example here is a client a little bit older, 81 years old, but for an 81-year-old was essentially in average health, let's say, and had a face amount of $100,000, right? So small face amount. Doesn't need to be large face amounts. We have funders that will go down to $100,000 of coverage. It's a universal life policy. Client was going to cancel it for $4,200, but instead the advisor suggested a life settlement, and LifeRoc was able to get an offer of $13,500, of which the seller got $12,500. A significant increase over the $4,250 they would otherwise would have got, while the advisor was able to receive $1,000 in commission. Here we have an SUL, a survivorship policy where the male and female are both alive. They're both in good health. $3 million policy, cash surrender value of almost $400,000. So we received almost $400,000 of canceling it, but because the advisor suggested a life settlement, they were able to receive a gross offer of $600,000. After commissions, $568,000, and the advisor was able to make $36,000. So one question oftentimes comes up is taxation. LifeRoc is not a certified tax consultant. We don't provide tax advice. We suggest you consult a tax professional. But here's how we've seen the taxes work within life settlements, and many times the taxes can work out favorably. So there's different components depending if the client has cash value in the policy or not, depending how much the client has paid into premiums, thus how high their cost basis are, would depend on how this model shakes out. But this is just a simple example showing $1 million policy that sold for $300,000 and how the taxes played out in that scenario. So now as you're starting to think about how this all comes together, here's a quick rundown of the life settlement transaction. And LifeRoc plays a role to help this go as smoothly as possible for you and make it as easy as possible. First and foremost is the pre-pricing quote, our appraisal that we do internally to give you a sense if the case is sellable or not. Then, of course, you submit a formal application. LifeRoc works to obtain the policy information and medical records. Then we get a life expectancy. And that's when the fun part starts. We're able to send it out to market and send it to our offers for send to our buyers for official offers. Once we get an official offer accepted, we're then able to send out the closing contract to the seller. After the seller completes the closing contract, then the escrow is funded. The owner and beneficiary changes are made with the carrier, and then the funds are released to the client, and then the advisor receives their commission after that. This slide here helps touch on an important component, which is how to find business. The majority of the business that we see comes from an advisor's book of business. And LifeRoc has a system to help you identify cases within your book of business. There's no fee to this. This is something that is proven, and our advisors around the country using it are consistently generating life settlement cases. So as you start thinking about ways to find business and to capitalize on life settlement opportunities, first and foremost, think about your book of business. Think of your clients who are 70 and older with life insurance policies. The next is anytime you're looking at an in-force replacement, a 1035 exchange, a term conversion, always check with us first to see what the value of that policy might be for a life settlement. That may increase the options for the client. And then centers of influence. Many of you work with centers of influence to obtain life insurance or annuity referrals. Same thing with life settlements. So start thinking of the centers of influence that work with clients who are 70 and older, that have the client's trust, and would be able to introduce a life settlement and then refer that client to you. Some examples: state attorneys, CPAs, money managers, and senior care facilities. So with that, I want to say thank you for your time. We look forward to working with you on any cases and providing you with evaluations of appraisals to give you a sense of what your cases may be worth.
Thank you for joining us today. To learn more about LifeRoc Capital and how we can help you on your next life settlement case, visit liferoccapital.com or call us directly at 888 662 0180.